Yo, what's up, everyone? Back for this NFL Week 13 look. Gonna go over my plays on Draftkings and Fanduel in this video. So let's get into it. You can drop a like down below and subscribe if you have not already. Starting off here at the quarterback position, Patrick Mahomes looks great matchup against the Raiders. They have the highest total on the slate. It's at home. It's supposed to be a little bit windy in this game. That's the only concern he could have, but Mahomes has a strong arm. He's going to have his main weapon, Tyreek Hill, back. So I like him if you want to pay up at quarterback. Lamar Jackson gets the toughest matchups he's had all year against the 49ers. I think he makes for a nice tournament play. Rodgers is fine, even though it's supposed to be not optimal conditions there in New York. But I'm definitely going to be paying down at quarterback this week. I think looking at guys like Darnold, Goff, Carson Wentz, all three look fine. Go even cheaper. You can maybe take a chance on Foles. But we have Andy Dalton, 4,700. This could definitely just backfire, but in the games that he has started, he's been at least a quality quarterback for DFS. I don't care that he throws interceptions and that he's not winning games. Well, interceptions do hurt for DFS, but at least he throws the ball a lot. He throws for a lot of yards, and at this price tag, getting you in the teens, low 20s, that's like, he has a chance to get you 4 to 5x return on a salary, which is something you're not really going to get from some of the top-end quarterbacks. Just as a point per dollar play, seems to be one of the better options at $4,700. So I like him at home. And if you're playing Andy Dalton, it makes a lot of sense to pair him with Tyler Boyd, who is 5,500. They had a great chemistry early on in the year when Dalton was the quarterback. It wasn't the same when Dalton went out. Boyd has still been the best receiver on the team. They don't have much without A.J. Green. So he's going to continue to get heavy targets. In the earlier weeks, he had double-digit targets in most of the games that Dalton played. So at 5,500 against the Jets at home, tough run defense, tough matchup for Mixon. Dalton should have to throw the ball a lot, and both of these guys are cheap. Offers you a nice upside stack. At running back, McCaffrey's 10.5. If you can definitely get up to him, the top play on the slate, it makes a lot of sense. But I don't think it's the end of the world if you can't afford him, just because there are some quality running backs much cheaper than him. So guys that I like are still like Leonard Fournette, even though the matchup's tough, just because it's supposed to be like 15, 20 mile per hour winds in this game as well. If that takes away some of the deep throwing of Foles, could see a lot of targets for Fournette, and he's been peppered with targets. He has 19 in the last 2 games. Nobody's really getting rushing attempts besides him. He's gonna get 25 to 30 plus touches this game at home. At 7,500, I like Fournette. Barkley's fine as well. I like Fournette, Barkley, and Le'Veon Bell. They're the 3 in the 7K range that I have a lot of interest in. If you're going down here, I don't mind going with Melvin Gordon at his price tag at only 6,400, or Miles Sanders at 5,400. But I think Williams 5,300 is just with Sanders. You don't have to. I mean, if you play Sanders, there is a chance that it could be like Ajayi who gets a touchdown, and Sanders hasn't really gotten a lot of work. But Williams here, he got 26 carries. He got 29 touches last game. The volume's going to be there. They didn't really trust anybody else to get the carries last time out. There's a chance that his touchdowns could also be stolen, but at least the touches will be there. The matchup's also solid against this Titans team for running backs. He can catch a couple passes out of the backfield. Just like the price tag on him. I don't think Sanders, I think, is a fine play as well, but you probably could expect 15. I would expect like 15 touches out of him, whereas Williams, I think, can get you 20 plus. And then I think Le'Veon Bell's in a good spot at 7,200. I like him. Last time I was having a big game, and then they just blew the top off. They just blew the Raiders out of the water, so he didn't have to play much in the second half. Didn't get much work, so it should be even fresher for this game. Really good matchup against the worst rush defense in football. He should get a ton of yardage. Hopefully, this could be the first time all year he's broken 100 yards if they just stick to the running game and they give him 20 plus carries. His targets have started to go up. at least a little bit the last 4 or 5 weeks. So that's appealing. 7,200 for Lev Bell. Thinks that's a nice play on the slate. At wide receiver, I love Tyreek Hill on Fanduel. I think on Draftkings he's really, really expensive, 8,900. That's just a tournament play. Don't think you can really get behind that play in cash, especially when you have Devontae Adams almost $2,000 cheaper than him. The matchup against the Giants, there's nobody competing for targets. Adams has nobody to compete with targets with. He's going to get his double-digit targets as long as he's healthy and in there. He hasn't got a lot of red zone opportunities this year, but the volume's there. Rodgers, instead of just handing the ball off to Jones in the red zone, hopefully he can get some touchdown passes in this one, and hopefully it can be to Devontae Adams. But I still at 7K, even if he doesn't get into the end zone, he's not touchdown dependent because he gives you that just high volume. He's going to get a lot of catches, going to get yards. So the floor is there and the upside can definitely be there. Just have a monster game. And then last guy I like at receiver is I like Devontae Parker, 5,700. Matched up against this Eagles defense. Their secondary has been a little bit better since they got some of their injured players back, but you can still have success against this secondary. And Parker's just been really solid for targets and volume since Preston Williams has been on IR. He's going to miss the rest of the year. So I would expect double-digit targets out of Parker again this week at home. So they're probably going to have to throw the ball a lot just because the Eagles have one of the better run defenses in football, and the Dolphins have no good running backs. So at 5,700, I like the price tag on Devontae Parker. I think you can pay off that salary pretty easily. At tight end, definitely like Kelsey if you're paying up. Ertz, we'll see if he can go. If not, then Goddard will become one of the better plays at tight end for value. I think Waller's fine, but Goddard will be great if Ertz is out. A couple guys you want to look at are Jack Doyle at 3,300 without Eric Ebron, who's out for this game. So he's one to consider. I think there was another guy at tight end. And Higbee with Everett out at 2,500. Just really, really cheap. They do have a lot of weapons now that Cooks is back. But Higbee, against this matchup, we've seen basically every tight end just crush this team. The Cardinals' worst team in the league against tight ends. I think it'll be fine if you need a cheap tight end. So he's definitely in consideration. But these are the 6 guys I like a lot for Draftkings. And then over on Fanduel, kind of same deal. Going to go with Andy Dalton just because he's so cheap on Fanduel as well. 6,000 for him. At running back, McCaffrey's up to 11K here. I still like these 3 guys I mentioned, Fournette, Barkley, and Bell a lot on Fanduel. I'm going to start it off once again with Bell here. I'm not in love with Williams that much here. Jonathan Williams on Fanduel just because he's 6,800. I'd rather just pay up a couple hundred more for like Barkley or Fournette or Bell. So on Fanduel, I would say Sanders is a better play than Williams. But on DraftKings, I would prefer Williams to Sanders. So yeah, I like Bell, and then I'm going to go with Barkley here. It's not supposed to be super optimal conditions here. It could lead to more running for Barkley. He's been terrible the last 3, 4, basically the last 3 games. But this matchup is good against the Packers. They really are bad against the rush. As long as he gets his 20 touches, I would expect him to have a good game here. It's at home. Hopefully they can score some points and hopefully they can get some touchdowns here. That's just been the deal. The offense has been so bad that he hasn't had a lot of opportunities in the goal line to get touchdowns. But at 7,600 on FanDuel, I think the price tag's at a point where you want to consider Barkley. Even on DraftKings, I would consider him. And then, a wide receiver, I definitely like Tyreek Hill. Just crazy how much more expensive he is than the second tier on DraftKings, whereas on FanDuel, he's just $100 more than Godwin. I love Tyreek Hill. In this matchup against this Raiders team, the first time they played this year, he wasn't out on the field. But he's had some big games in the games that he has played. He had a 19-target game. He's basically going to get 10-plus targets as long as he's not bothered by the hamstring and plays his full amount of snaps. And in the first time against this Oakland team, Patrick Mahomes basically threw 4 touchdowns in the first half, and then he didn't do anything in the second half. But I like Tyreek Hill. The matchup's great. The highest total on the slate. Price tag is fine on FanDuel at least. And then I'm going back to the same guys I liked on DraftKings. I think Jeffrey's fine at 6,500. Even on Fanduel and DraftKings, he was cheap as well, so he's in consideration. But still like Parker at 6K, and I still like Tyler Boyd as well. So those are the 6 guys I like on Fanduel, as well as DraftKings. And the tight ends, the same deal. I love Kelsey. Love the same guys I mentioned. Kelsey, Goddard if Ertz is out, Doyle, maybe some Higbee. Those would be the main guys, but definitely think you can pay up for Kelsey. And if you pay down at quarterback, I'll do that. And then defenses here. Eagles at 5,000. Don't know if I can get all the way up there. I think the second tier is where it's like maybe the Browns at 4,600. They're fine. Maybe the Jaguars. We know Winston throws a lot of interceptions. I like the Ravens defense a lot. They've been great all year. This is one of the toughest things you can ask for an opposing team. For a West Coast team to travel East Coast and play a 1 o'clock game. We saw what happened to the Raiders when they faced the Jets last week at a 1 o'clock time. They just looked lost out there. Only put up 3 points the entire game. Not saying that that's going to happen to the 49ers, but I definitely think playing a good defense on the road, especially an East Coast team, having to travel, they're not used to the time difference. I think at 4,000 on FanDuel, the Ravens defense is looking appealing, and I think that if you pay attention to some of that effect that travel has on the body, I don't think a lot of people will take that into consideration, so I don't think they'll be super popular, but the Ravens are my defense this week, so yeah. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. You can leave any comments down below, and good luck this week.